Right, I hope it took all right. I was so mad here one day. I sat here and yacked for 30 minutes. Was making a tape for Lois. And I don't know what stupid thing I did. I did something wrong because it didn't record. And I was so disgusted I never did make another tape until now. So I hope this is going to be okay. I just tried it on this side, so it's taken okay if I don't run out of conversation now. I can think of a million things when I'm not trying to think of something to say. Lois called me the other day. We got her a pair of diamond earrings for her birthday, and that really did did surprise her and please her, which I was hoping it would do. Oh dear. She said that Jack come over to see her on her birthday. I don't know, she has complained a lot of times about Jack don't treat her like a sister, but oh, they'll get closer as the years go by. But it's kind of hard for Jack because Susie will never do anything with him. You know, when Pat was there just before he come down here, why, she went over to Lois's with Pat. But when Jack asked her to go, she just gets her back up and don't go. But anyway, Lois said that he promised her that they'd come over to her house on Mother's Day. But I bet you Susie don't come. That back apartment Jack has, there's been one guy living in that with a big dog ever since Jack built that building. And oh my God, I guess it was a real mess. Jack had Dennis clean it up. He scrubbed and scoured and painted and what have you to get it cleaned up, and tore out the old carpet and put in some new. And they're planning on moving Susie's mother in that apartment because it is rough for Susie. She has to help Jack at the office and try to keep the house going and go up to her mother's twice a week, and that's 28 miles, and that's a pain in the neck. So I don't know. Jack said he was going to ask them to sign the house over to him because he will have to take care of her. The house isn't paid for, but at least it'll be some compensation. And that Marshall's so aggravating, he doesn't do anything to help his mother, and he should. So it's always the girls, and of course girls have husbands, so Jack will have to help Susie out with that deal. It really is too bad. But well, I hate to put some of these things that I got in my mind. I hate to put it down on tape. But this is what drink does to people. She's got that polio affliction, crippled from that, and plus the arthritis. And then when she gets loaded with beer, it makes it just almost impossible to put up with her. But I can see somebody else here that's going down the road the same way, and that's Pauline. She had I'm sure it was a bruise across the bridge of her nose. And it was there a week ago Friday, real blue, reddish blue is what it was. You could tell it was a bruise. And someone said, I wonder if Sam hit her. And I said, oh no, my God, that isn't what happened. I said, I think she must have fell and struck it on something. So this Friday night, she came and put her arms around me, and I could smell the booze on her. Of course, that's her business. But anyway, I said to her, what happened to your nose? Did you hit it on something? And she says, why? Well, I said, it's all black and blue. Oh, she says, I think it's sunburned. That's what she said. She says, I had my glasses on, but I think it's sunburned. But between you and I don't think it's sunburned at all. But old Sam, he's still on the wagon, strictly. More power to him, I guess. But she did say to me once last year, I am just drinking too much. But she's not happy. I don't know what it would take to make her happy, but she just isn't happy. I asked her if they were going to spend the summer up in Michigan, and she said no. I kind of think that John's got a love in. I don't know for sure, but that's the way it sounded. I know Sammy has, and Johnny probably has too, so that kind of freezes the old folks out. I mentioned on the phone to you about this Crystal Springs. You know, I just get aggravated every time I think about it. Why didn't we know about that place before? I've heard people mention Crystal Springs because there is well, it isn't a town really. All there is there is a post office. It says Silver Springs. Well, it's nothing. What they're talking about is what they call a recreational preserve. It's just a big natural swimming hole with the falls, and it's spring water. And if I remember right, they said the water that goes over that falls is 20,000 gallons a minute. And it flows into the Hillsborough River, and of course that's where Tampa get their water from, that they use for the city. And I could see why. And if that's, and that water is about 72 degrees, and they say that it stays like that the year round. The big complaint over here at the pool of this solar heat business, the water is too warm. It's just like soup, you know. You don't feel refreshed when you get out of it. So Ed and I have only been out there in the water once, but it's only 5 miles from here, and it's easy now that we know where it's at. What's aggravating about it, different ones that have been here, of course when you folks was here it was cold, it wasn't swimming weather, but when Pat and Joyce was here it was hot, not this year but 2 years ago. And when Lois and Jack was here, it was warm. And when Jack and Mike was here this time, and we could have taken little Tim out there, it's just a beautiful place for kids. Because all one side of it is, you can wade in. You can go in any depth that you want. Or if you want to dive in, you dive off the little footbridge. And it's just an ideal spot for everybody, all ages. We just feel bad to think we didn't know about it before, so that you could take people out there. But if you get down here next year, it'll have to be next year now, I guess. Well, at least that'll be something we can do if the park is open the year round. But I don't suppose they'd have too many people in there. Not cold weather, but rainy weather. I don't know whether today'd be all right because it's 78. Who cares when they got a bathing suit whether it rains or not, as long as there's no thunder and lightning. And that's kind of amazing. It just puzzles me, because I read in that Pasco book that Zephyr Hills was world renowned for lightning, and yet the people that live here say that when it rains it don't lightning. Now, you don't know what to believe. We haven't had enough rain this winter for us to judge, and of course we've never been here in the summertime, so we can't judge, but we had a couple of good cracks, I know, the last rain shower that we had. I meant to look at the time to see how much time I have on this, but I guess I did look, and now I don't remember, so probably end abruptly without even getting the chance to say goodbye. Well, I got Ed talking to me on there a little bit anyway, because he'll always say, I don't know what to say, but I can think of something. Joyce McNulty, she came down here with Mary Gaw, that friend of hers. Mary Gaw lost her husband in February. Someone told me he was only 46, but I could he was a little bit older than that, more like 49, but anyway, still pretty young to die without a heart attack. So her and her daughter, Julie, came down here, so it was an opportunity for Joyce. She come with them. And Lindy, Joyce, one of Joyce's boys, lives at Melbourne. But Mary was going to Tampa first. So she was familiar with Betmar, because I think she said that she had lived here. That's what I understood, that she had lived here once for 5 years. So she brought Joyce here, and then Lindy come over. It was a Sunday. He come over in his truck and took his mother over to Melbourne, and she didn't know whether she'd get back here or not, which she never did. And I haven't heard from her, but I know that they have gone back to Michigan. I think they went back a week ago. She sent me a card from Melbourne, but she didn't say when she was going back. And there's Gertrude. She was Gertrude Landberg. She lives here in Betmar, and they went to see her, but she wasn't home. And this Mary Gaw visited Gertrude's son and his wife. They had that supermarket up there at Croswell, and they went bankrupt. So I don't know what he does in Tampa, but that's where he is now. So then I think Mary Gaw went from here over to Melbourne because there was somebody there that she wanted to see too. Pick up Joyce, and evidently went on home. But it irritates you when somebody don't tell you anything. She sent me a card with a picture of the Columbia piggyback on the 747, and she said that went right over Lindy's house, and that she took a snapshot of it. But never said it. She just ended it by saying, see you soon. And that didn't tell you whether she meant see you soon in Florida or Michigan. These people that do that, it's like the letters I get from Margaret Nolan. So the last letter I wrote to her, I asked her a bunch of questions, and by gosh, I got a letter back about 4 pages. She answered everything that I asked her. Because we wondered up there, we can't trust that new manager. She says he's a creep, whatever that's supposed to mean. But I heard from somebody else that him and Frank got into a hassle. So we don't feel like trusting him to turn on the gas. Well, honey, I don't know. My dears, this is to both of you, naturally. It's so much fun to hear your voice. I know Jim's a pretty busy guy, so he don't have much to say on these tapes, but I got a kick out of the kids, too. I think that's fun. That tape that Jack sent me, he got Kimberly. They was just about like Will and Becky, a little bit on the shy order, but once you play it back and they find out that they really are being heard, they'll come up with something. Those kids of Laura and Joe's are such cute. I don't know. It's no sense to brag, but I think we got some darling children in our family. Well, I know this is about done. This is Monday morning. The phone rang there at that point, and we went over to John and Elizabeth's more euchre, but Sam and Pauline came over, so we played six-handed. It was kind of fun. I could see by the clock, because I timed this, that I've just about got time to say goodbye and put it in the mail. I hope you enjoy this garbage. Maybe next time I can think of something more interesting. Goodbye for now, and see you soon. Good.
Did Elizabeth just buy that screwdriver?
No, Rachel gave it to her. Yeah. There's a little bit of time on there. Do you want to say something? I said a little bit of time on there. I already said goodbye. So I'll say something? I guess he's tongue-tied.